internationally known.
When I be on the mic, real ill.
I'm internationally known, yo.
Hard talk, real ill.
I'm internationally known.
When I be on the mic, real ill.
So all hail the honorable.
Hard talk, real ill.
I'm internationally known.
When I be on the mic, real ill.
I'm internationally known, yo.
Hard talk, real ill.
I'm internationally known.
When I be on the mic, real ill.
So all hail the honorable.
Hard talk, real ill.
I'm internationally known.
When I be on the mic, real ill.
I'm internationally known.
Welcome to the Being Neo podcast, episode 4. Let's go crazy. Guys, are you guys ready for this episode? I'm ready. I'm actually pumped to talk with you guys. I feel like I'm always excited. I'm always excited to talk with you guys. I don't want you to think that it's just episode 4. I think I'm going to shorten these episodes. I feel like I've given you guys about 3 hours of my life. But I don't want it to be a burden to listen to the podcast. I want you guys to be excited to listen. I want you guys to be able to find time to listen. And I feel like an hour is probably pushing the limitations for, at least with the solo episodes, you guys having to make that kind of time. I feel like when I get guests on, especially with guests on, and the subjective nature of this podcast in general, the conversations are just going to flow. And so I would rather save the hour-long podcast for when I have guests. One, because I also think it values their time a little bit more instead of like a pop-in. And I also think it's necessary to kind of set things up and kind of bring things along. So all of that said, I am going to try to keep this to about 30 minutes. Okay, so you read the title. And if you didn't, we're talking peace over religion today. Peace over religion. Oh, listen, I always tell you guys I want to share my life. So, full disclosure, a friend of mine, I've been friends with him for, 14 years. What do you think, bro? 14 years, right? More or less? 2010-ish? So, yeah, about 14 years. It's crazy. Crazy. This friend of mine knew me before, while I was just dating my first ex-wife. My first ex-wife. Saying that sounds crazy to me. But he listened to that podcast, episode number 1. Had some questions. He reached out. I'm going to read to you exactly what he wrote to me. But before we get into the subjection of that conversation, like I always want to do, I'm gonna start with some facts. But since we're talking religion, we're going to do some religious facts, okay? Are we cool with that? It doesn't matter if you're cool with that because it's the Being Neo podcast. Fuck off if you're not cool with it. You can listen to Joe Rogan or some shit. For any of you guys that think I'm going to dive too deeply into religion, I am not a religious person, hence the fucking cursing. All right, so listen, if you guys were under 18, you can sign off because you shouldn't be listening to the things discussed here. Without your parents' approval. It sounded very parent-like. I sounded so responsible just now. But yeah. Okay, so current world estimates. We're going to look at the breakdown of, oh my goodness, why did it just do this to me? Why? I hate when you get into Google and it gives you a summary of something, and then when you open it, it is just not the summary. So we're doing current world estimates. Google, people, nothing crazy, right? So it says Christianity, there are 2.382 billion people that consider themselves Christians. And that makes up 31% of the world. 31%. I feel like I could stop right there. It's a fact. I gave it to you. And I can definitely talk about everything I need to talk about just based on that one fact. Because now that I'm saying it out loud, if 31% of the world is Christian, that's 2.382 billion people believe in Christ. Or in some aspect of Christ. That's 31%. So that is 69% of the world they either don't believe in Christ or they believe in another. Fair? Is that fair? Is that a fair factual assumption based on the information just read? from Google. I feel like that's fair. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do now is read the question or read the comment from my friend. I said this in one of my stories the other day. If I have someone in my circle and I consider them a friend, they are non-judgmental people that are focused and dedicated and committed to challenging themselves in life, doing their best, being new, adjusting, adapting, growing, and being a positive impact on the world. Those are the kind of friends that I fuck with, like hands down. So this is one of those type of friends. So I say that to say, when I read this, some of you may be ready to like hit him over the head. Bro, why would you? Don't hit him over the head. This was a very open conversation, and I'm not saying who it is. Obviously, you're gonna listen to episode 4, bro. So you know I'm talking to you right now. And I told you this is what I was gonna do. Remember I said this? I was like, I think I'm gonna just answer you in a podcast because I feel like there were other people that listened to the podcast that had this question. And so, you know what? Before I get into that, let's hold on. Let's back up. You know, like we're still remember we're dating. This is the long courtship. We're not having one night stands on the Being Neo podcast. So let me give you some context. I have been in church my entire life. Like, here's the context, okay? I have been in church my entire life. I met my last ex-wife at church. We served in youth ministry together. That's how we met. We met serving in youth ministry. I got baptized as an adult with my first ex-wife, where we also served in youth ministry. And I have been in church my whole life. When I was a kid, my parents drove us 2.5 hours. Hear me. Us, me, my 4 siblings in a minivan, the 7 of us would drive 2.5 hours to go to church in Nanuet, New York. I guess I could say this because why not? Redeeming Love Christian Center. Anybody know that church? I feel like, and this was, oh man, when I was a kid, God, I was born in 82, right? So like, I don't know, 92, 90s, early 90s, late 80s. This church had over 3,000 members. Okay, let me just tell you, it would take an hour to get out of the parking lot. Like it's craziness. 2.5 hours to church. Shout out to Posa Posa, the pizza place in Nanuet, New York. If they are still there, grab a slice. They were off of I want to say Avenue 9. Somebody fact check me. Please, someone fact check me and comment if it is off of Avenue 9. Send me a message. I need to know. No, sorry guys, this podcast might as well be live. It is live because I am now going to look up Posa Posa Pizza. And someone is like, dude, can you stay on task? This is part of the task. You guys don't understand. Posa Posa Pizzeria and Restaurant. And if you guys, for anyone that thinks I'm lying, just see if it'll focus. I don't know if it'll focus. There you go. Posa Posa Pizzeria and Restaurant. Are we seeing this on the screen? All right. So that is what I looked up. And the address, I knew it had a 9. It's 59. So it's 121 Rockland Quarter or 121 Rockland Center, Route 59. I said 9. I said Avenue 9. It's Route 59. Nanuet, New York, 10954. So located in the TJ Maxx. Now there's a TJ Maxx there. But shout out to Posa Posa. Definitely, if you're in Nanuet, New York, go look them up. Don't tell them that Neo sent you. My name wasn't even Neo then. I was 10. They're not going to remember me. I'm 41 now. So yeah, don't do that. But definitely the pizza was good. So 2.5 hours. Needless to say, my parents are very, very religious. My entire life, church was like this thing. Before we get beat, we'd get like scriptures. Before we get grounded, we'd get scriptures. My mom, we prayed every morning before I left to go to school. Rain, shine, healthy, sick, cold day, hot day, with money, no money, didn't matter. We prayed every morning before we went to school. We got hurt, we prayed. We got into an accident, we prayed. About everything. And it wasn't, I feel like forced is something that people say when there is an ability to have an opposing force, right? Like force takes force, right? Like physics here. There's got to be an equal and opposing force for the force. Are you feeling me? I know that sounds crazy to some people, but like the reason why the mouse that is on the desk is on the desk and is not floating is because there's an equal amount of force pushing up on the mouse as there is the mouse pushing down. Okay? Now, that said, we didn't have force opposing my parents. There was no freaking opportunity to have a force to oppose. This was not an option. This was not open for discussion. This was happening. Like the facts I read at the beginning of these shows. Listen, it was you're going to effing church. Cool, we're going. That said, I am not a religious person. And some of my friends say that whenever I start saying something, I'm like, I'm not a religious person. I'm not. And I push the boundaries on a regular basis of how to become as unreligious as possible because I fucking hate it. I hate religion. I hate religion. I love Christ. Hate religion. And for some of you, you're like, huh? What? Even the fact that I'm fucking cursing probably has some of you like beside yourselves. I will tell you, when I started this podcast, one of the things I thought to myself, and one of the hesitations I had was, the people that listen to the Keto Matrix podcast, they were introduced to Neo, but they were introduced to the married Neo that was trying to be as peaceful as his loving wife. My ex-wife was just, and I messed up because I wasn't supposed to say first or second or to identify. Sorry, guys. Grace. Remember, we're talking peace and religion right now. But my ex-wife was just so sweet, man. I mean, that woman was an angel. And it made it to the point where I couldn't be myself because, fuck, man, I'm dark, bro. Like, sometimes I get dark. And she's just this beaming light. And she was so, like, precious that I had her up on this pedestal like she couldn't break. Like, I couldn't let her into my world because if I let her into that darkness, it would absolve her. And, my job's to protect, right? Like, I'm supposed to be the protecting husband that just shields you all from all of it. That's what husbands do. Well, it was a bad look. But all of that said, I'm not religious. And if I would have remembered that during my marriage, we might still be married. Who knows? Okay, so where am I going with all of this? 2.5 hours. I grew up very religious. Like, there wasn't an opposing force. We had to do it. And I have had Christ save my life so many times I can't count. And I'm not talking like, in this like hypothetical, you don't understand. I remember thinking to myself, I was going to take the bus that was in an accident and I forgot my phone. And so I wasn't on the bus sitting in the seat I normally would have sat in, which is where the tree fell on the bus. And so I'm so thankful that I forgot my phone. I'm not talking some crazy ass shit like I'm talking like, I was walking today. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to think too much about all the times he saved my life, if I'm being honest. I just started reflecting on a little bit and I started getting kind of teary-eyed. Y'all, I have always lived an extreme life. I have always lived an extreme life. I was literally walking today and I just sent a voice message to a friend. And I'm walking and Logan stops to poop. I'm telling you, right, like, this is not a joke. A tree branch, it had to be, it's a dead tree branch, had to be about this wide. If you're watching the video, we're talking 18 inches in diameter. It's like hell of a tree branch, 18 inches in diameter at least, and covers the crosswalk, covers the sidewalk path. And I'm standing there, and it falls and drops at my feet. And I have these headphones on. I'm listening to music. In the morning the morning and the afternoon, just depending on what I'm doing, I like to listen to music, smoke, and just vibe out. It's a vibe, it really is. But so I have my headphones on, and so I couldn't tell you if the branch was crackling before it dropped. The only thing I can tell you is that the wind of the force when it hit the ground and the proximity, we're talking inches to my feet, everyone that was around and even the people that were riding their bikes on the other side of the fence all stopped and looked at me and Logan like, that happened. That just happened. Like, are you okay? Like, are you good? And my heart, no joke, my heart for a minute was like, wow, that just happened. I'm talking inches, people. If he would have pooped inches closer, if I would have waited for him on the other side of this, yo. One of the reasons I'm so dark at different times is because I've experienced so much death in my life. And I'm not talking like, oh, this person that I haven't seen in 10 years died. I'm talking like life being lost in my proximity, in my arms, in my hands, in my face. Just, yeah. So, God is very real to me. He's very real to me. But I fucking hate religion. And here's why. Before we get into here's why, let me read the question he asked, and then I'm gonna go into where I am on all of this. I gotta like bring this up, guys. I feel like my energy just came down, and I don't mean to bring it down. I know you guys are like listening to the podcast, feeling it, but like, man, for anyone that's listening to this that has dealt with death, like, if I sit here and think about it, the first thing that comes to me are the smells, and then the energy. Just, I don't want to go there, but yo, like, if you're not in therapy, get in therapy. It helps. It really does, I promise. Because there's a lot of processing that happens after. Even still, I feel like I still process some of the people I've lost still. So like, yeah, get in therapy. I need to get you guys like a BetterHelp link or something. Because I do use BetterHelp. Check them out, betterhelp.com. Super cool. And not to just plug them, but I'm plugging them in right now anyway. So go to betterhelp.com. I will get a discount code when I can, and when I can, I will update the description in the notes. But it's so awesome. It's the one thing that allows me to travel and do all the things that I do. Keep the same therapist, I track the same therapist. I have journal notes and stuff I can write on a regular basis whenever throughout the day. It's super flexible. You can do this where you're like video with your therapist, or you can just do conversations. Personally, I prefer just conversations. I don't feel the need to have to look, but it's amazing. So check that out and get in therapy, because like I said in episode 1, it's not because you're crazy. It's because you want to accelerate the process of healing and the process of understanding the things in your mind, even if you don't feel like you need to heal. Think of it as cheating on the person's test next to you, right? Like, they studied for the first questions, you studied for the last part of the questions, and together you all have the answers, because that's what they help you do, understand and come up with the answers and the things to the questions that you've had in an accelerated rate, because they are who they are, the therapist. So check that out. All right, so this was the question that came in. It's not even a question that came in. That sounds like this is the radio show and someone wrote in. This is my boy that wrote to me and was like, yo, are you good? So he was like, look, in your podcast, you called it peace. We're referring to episode 1. This is episode 4. He is referring to episode 1. And make sure you listen to episodes 2 and 3. Okay, so he said, in your podcast, you called it peace. I think it is Jesus you seek. This reminded me of you after I listened to episode 1. The unconditional pursuit, a call to belong. relentlessly pursuing Jesus, wandered off the path from Jesus, on the fence about Jesus. He's got question marks. Here's what's true. You matter to Jesus. Yes, you. There are no qualifications for God's love and pursuit of you. You matter to Jesus. He calls you by name to come to him, and he desires you to be with him. Reread those words. He desires you to be with him. In Matthew 18:12, I don't know, check this. Jesus shares this parable. What do you think? If a man owns 100 sheep and one of them wanders away, will he not leave the 99 to the hills and go look for the one that wandered off? Or we could talk about the prodigal son. But in either case, same scenario. It's not just a story, it's a reassuring reality of Jesus' love and commitment to every single one of his own. Jesus, the good shepherd, never gives up on his sheep. Never. He diligently seeks out the one who wanders. We all have moments when we feel like the wandering sheep. Sometimes we feel like we're straying off the path. But remember this, you are not forgotten and you matter to Jesus. He cares for the one who has strayed just as much as he does the 99 who stayed close. Matthew 18:13. So draw near to him today, because no matter where you are in your spiritual journey, Jesus is seeking after you, calling you by name to not only follow him, but to be with him. How will you respond today? So I really appreciated him saying that and sending that to me. One, I appreciated everyone. I appreciate everyone that listens to my podcast. You're listening to me ramble. That's how I feel it, okay? I am doing my best to change the world one podcast episode at a time, one conversation at a time, one sharing of the random crazy thoughts that are in my mind. And listen, if you think episode 4 is crazy, wait until I talk episode 5. We're going to talk about sex in Colombia. Yeah, what a dichotomy. But he sent that to me, and and the first thing I said was, bro, thank you for listening to the podcast. Appreciate that. You took time to write that to me. I don't fucking write. I said this to him. I was like, I don't write. I sent voice messages. This was a voice message I sent to him. Like, I don't have time to write. I really don't have time to write, guys. I do write, and it takes so long. So I send voice messages to almost everyone. Same thing, Spanish, English, German, French, does not matter. 99% of the time I'm sending you a voice message. So that said, I was like, dude, you wrote all this shit out. That was big to me. I was like, you just heard me read it all. That was a lot to write. And so I'm like, thanks for that time. Like, thank you for taking the time to think of me, listen to me ramble, and then sacrifice this kind of time to write me. Like, bro, I don't care what you have to say to sacrifice that kind of time to share something with me that I know you're sharing because you're hoping it benefits me, or at least starts a dialogue. Straight up, yo, like, I appreciate you, bro. He and I haven't talked we talk. I could reach out. I could call him, but we used to talk every day. I used to see him every day. He used to come in the gym I worked out at, or where I worked at, lived there, back in Dallas when I first moved to Texas. So, in either case, bro, thank you for that. So my response is this: as you saw in the title, peace over religion? ? Yes, because I want to change the world, and the interesting thing about the Bible for me is that I can't think of any stories, real talk, I can't think of any stories in the Bible where the focus of the story is on Jesus talking. Let me say that again. I can't think of any story in the Bible where the focus of the story is Jesus talking. It's not like, yo, Jesus was standing with these people, and bro, he gave the best sermon ever. That's like the intro to the story. During the sermon, he was manifesting blah, and this happened, or this happened, or this happened, or this happened, or this happened. There was always an act. There was always an act. The water to wine, fish for 5 that fed 5,000, Peter walking on the water, all of it. They're acts, right? So like, faith without works is dead. Why am I saying that? Why does that matter? Because 69% of the world, they don't give a shit about Jesus. And yeah, I could absolutely sit here and say, all right, well, I'm going to be a pastor. I'm going to open up a church. I am not a fan of churches. We should talk about that in another episode. Maybe when he comes on, we'll talk more about why I'm not a fan of churches. I have not been to church in 3 years, and I do not see myself going back to church. I think church is a scam. Yes, I served in church for years. I've given over 6 figures to churches. Not churches, chickens. Churches. I'm not a fan of churches. Okay, so he peace. Yes, peace. Because the 69 other percent, like, I want to impact them too. Because there's a Buddhist right now that is not at peace. And there's a Hindu right now that is not at peace. And there is every other religion that you could possibly think of where people are trading their peace. And if you truly believe in Christ, that he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, I don't care what these other people consider the peace that they have, that they're searching for, that I help them, remind them, and help them gain the perspective, the understanding, the outlook, and the adjustment in their mindset to understand that their peace is within them to have at all times. I don't give a shit what they think of in their religious perspectives on it. Don't care. But my acts, that's what I want. I want people to see me on the street, to listen to this podcast, to watch my videos, to interact with me and say, dude, your energy, man. I feel drawn to your energy. And I don't want them drawn to my energy because it is of my own. I want the spirit of Christ that is within me to allow me to maintain, guard, remind me of my peace, and allow me to operate in a surplus of love always. So that when I interact with people, no matter what the fuck their religious views are, they can experience that. So that that energy is intoxicating. So that that positivity radiates from me with those around me. That I can attract those people in to experience life with peace. That's what I want. And I don't need to wrap God in that bow. God is the end, the all, the beginning. He is everything. So why do I need to limit myself to the only 31% that will believe in what it is that I'm saying when I say I want to change the world and make it a more peaceful place? See, that for me is where all this conflict fucking happens, right? Like, I'm looking everywhere for peace because nobody's simplifying this shit to say, bro, you're exchanging your peace and not being your authentic self in every decision that you make throughout the day. And yes, the peace that passeth all understanding is God-given for sure. But if he gave it, that means I have it, which means it's mine to keep, guard, protect, and preserve, which is what I said in the first episode, peace over everything. Because I'm no longer exchanging, giving away my peace to absolutely fucking anybody. And so, that said, I'm also not limiting it to 31% that believe that God exists. Because I want everyone in this world to do a better job of being more at peace. And look, for you people that, I mean, look, I know, there are you right now that watched, listened to episode 1 and you're on episode 4 and you still have not bought a mug, a t-shirt, or a hoodie. People, I'm asking you to share this podcast. I'm asking you to contribute to the podcast, but I'm not asking you to do it for me. I'm asking you to do it for you because you want a more peaceful world. I know you do. If you have kids, you definitely want a more peaceful world for them. If you don't have kids, you want a more peaceful world for you. I know I do. There's more fun that I'd like to have with less of the stress and bullshit that is in life. So it's not too late. The lines are still up. Buy it. But I need you to understand something. I mean this when I'm sitting here saying, like, take 5 minutes right now and buy it. All of the links that are here will link you to it in the description here. Or go to freeyourmind.store. Go to my Instagram, Being Neo. Go to my TikTok, Being Neo. Just click the link in the bio. In either case, go. If you're on Instagram, you can buy it from Instagram. But, like, I'm asking you this seriously, because I want you to have the conversation. I want to visually explain this because I feel like maybe that'll help. My entire body is covered in tattoos. Focus, no focus. This 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 scripture right here. Can I focus? Can. It's Mark 5, you'll see. It says Mark 5, verses 9 through 20. Okay? Visually, I showed that on the video. Mark 5, verses 9 through 20. This story is Jesus walks up on Legion. He says, "What's your name?" Legion says, "My name's Legion." He's possessed with demons. Jesus cast the demons out into a herd of sheep and then drowned the herd of sheep off the cliff into the ocean. Legion's like, "Oh my God, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How can I ever forgive you? How can I ever repay you? How can I ever thank you? What can I do?" And Jesus says, "Yo, bro, go back to your homies in the village and let them know what's up. Like, let them know what I did for you. That's what I'm asking you to do. Like, just let them know what I did for you. Tell them." The rest of this whole tattoo on my arm is a reflection of the representation that I have an option every morning that I wake up, which is to be a righteous man of Christ, be the best person that I possibly can be in every form of who I can be. Or I can be the man that is my dark man on fire, engulfed in flames and hating the world. Those are my two options every day. And the rest of the tattoo is like pieces of the spiritual armor that God's given you to be able to fight for that peace. So, in saying all of that, the scripture for me, I have this tattoo because I wanted to be able to have a conversation. I want people to be like, "Yo, what's that all about?" And then be able to say, "Well, so this is me. These are the things that I battle with. This is what God's helped me through. This is how I've gotten to the spot." And so, like, I want that full back tattoo. Like, I'm covered in religious tattoos, in tattoos of beliefs that I have, because I want to spark conversations and I want to be reminded of the lessons of life that I've learned and things that I have been made aware of explicitly in my life. This shirt, the mug, the hoodie, the piece over everything design for me is that. It's twofold. This is you telling other people about how important your piece is and giving them the opportunity to understand and learn peace and have that conversation. You see, for you that are sitting here talking religiously, you don't have the opportunity to, I mean, you do, but often don't, open your mouth on a daily basis and talk about what God's done for your life. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that. I'd rather just show people, like I'm doing right now, talking to you guys. Like, I'd rather you do something that shows people. And it doesn't have to be start a podcast. It could be send someone food because they're hungry. It could be someone that has done you wrong in your perception and you taking the time to ask them if they're okay and how are they before you jump to a conclusion. Those little things show in your action reflect your peace in others in how you act and allow people to be drawn to that peace. And then share with them how. Peace over everything. The t-shirt, that's the gateway. What? Wage war for peace. Especially this political year in the US. I know this is a global podcast, but I'm internationally known when I'll be on the mic. Remember that? It's in the intro. But seriously though, like, this is real. You have to wage war for your peace. In how people look at you, judge you, your perception of what people look at you and judge you about, the way in which you deal with saying no to things that you truly don't want, and saying yes to the things that you've been procrastinating and not doing for so long. Yes, I could take every single thing that I just said and tie it to a scripture. But I don't need this to be tied to a scripture. I need you, the person listening, watching, has dealt with stress, that's seeking peace on a daily basis right now, to buy a t-shirt. I'm telling you, I need this. The show needs this. The world needs this. And then when the person in the coffee line asks you, "Where did you get that wage war for peace?" Plug the podcast, of course. Okay. So it's the Being Neo podcast. That dude is so fucking awesome. He's dope. He is the most, all of the things. Okay. And then we're like, this is my peace. I'm not at peace. I am terrified every day to leave the house. I have a phobia about this, but I wear the shirt and I remind myself that I should be at peace. Peace is mine to have. Peace is mine to give away. Peace is mine to lose. And peace is mine to fight for. And they're going to be like, "What's your phobia?" I don't know. I don't know what the next thing is that they'll say, but you shared it, and that'll help you. It'll help them, and it'll help me. So I mean, it's a win-win for everybody, people. I do not feel as if anyone that I have ever met religious is a good look. I don't even like to be considered a Christian. I don't like to be considered a Christian because some people that call themselves Christians, can you, I mean, my goodness, people, it's horrible. And I'm not about to turn this podcast and this episode into a religion batching episode, but I really need everyone to understand, if you saw me, you could see me emotionally change. I believe in Christ unequivocally, without doubt. And faith is the evidence of things unseen. And my faith in you, in knowing that I'm going to share these vulnerabilities, insecurities, private conversations, my outlook and perspective, past experiences, the 2.5 hour journey. I'm going to give you guys a bonus on the church journeys real quick too. Like, it's me having faith in all of this, in the fact that more people are going to subscribe and follow the podcast, that the multitudes are going to come, that these episodes will eventually go viral and give the opportunity to be in a huge world stage like the Today Show in Times Square, or like, I don't know, the Joe Rogan podcast. What is homegirl's name that does the most weird, awkward podcast? I can't think of her name right now. I feel so bad. Holy shnikes. I can't think of her name right now. Bobby. It's like Toph or something. But I remember seeing the first podcast. It was like or the first podcast I saw was a podcast she did with Drake. I think she's done 2 with him now, but it was the first episode she did with Drake. And I was like, this is such an awkward conversation, but I couldn't look away. Like, it was really weird. And then she did another episode. I've watched a few of her podcast episodes, and they're good. They're good. I like them. It's me on her show, talking about how fast this grew and why peace and my conviction to help everyone in the world really gain more peace. Because, yo, I'm no fucking David Goggins, right? But I do want to change the world, and I can't do it without you. So that's it. I'm not gonna make this episode really long, but that is my viewpoint on peace over religion. At the end of the day, it's so much bigger than one religion. This is a global thing. I want everyone to be able to be more at peace. We can't keep dividing and shifting and changing and putting people in these buckets and categories. That is not the life I want for the world. That's not the life I want to live in, or the world I want to live in with the life that I have left. We need to break down these borders of lineage, of thoughts, of boxes, and embrace the idea of us being our entire universe and having the impact of everything we touch, we do, we say, and we manifest. Hear what I just said. You are in control of absolutely everything you want to manifest in your world. So stop thinking that there's some box outside of yourself that is preventing you from being your absolute mind-blown potential. Because it's there and it's possible. And I don't give a shit what box we're talking about. Religion, politics, gender, like, everybody. I gotta say this. I'm sorry. Where are we at on time? 38. I said 30 to 45, so I'm still on track. Listen to this shit, guys. Don't adjust your cameras. My skin is black. I know the lights are throwing you off a little, right? You're like, what, huh? But seriously, you know how many people died in the United States of America during the Civil Rights Movement, before the Civil Rights Movement, after the Civil Rights Movement, today in fucking 2024 already, because of their skin color? When all of the Civil Rights Movement, What the civil rights movement was a right to fight for equality. Why in the fuck are we creating all this delineation and shit? Who in the fuck came up with the bullshit of pronouns and I want to be a different gender and all that? What in the fuck happened to just everybody wanting to be equal? I have never seen so many people fight to have special places separate. You're asking for a fucking black only water fountain? What the fuck? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Seriously. The fucking LGBTQ, however other many letters are supposed to go after that, you want a special this? Why the fuck would you want that? Why would you not just want to be seen as an equal person? Whatever that is for you, however you identify and feel, whatever that is, why would you not want to be seen just equally? People die to be seen equally, and you're over here like, it doesn't fucking make any sense to me. I don't get it. So, don't put yourself in a box, religious or otherwise. Be new, be you, be Neo. This shit is real to me. You have the ability to be whoever you'd like to be, manifest whatever future you want to have. There is nothing stopping you. You are your universe. So do with it what you want. Life is short. Get it done. And peace. Let that guide you. Let it be your North Star. I'm at peace, people. Fuck, shit is not easy right now. It is not. It's not been easy. My close friends my close friends know all of the different challenges I deal with on a regular basis. And I'm here trying to change the world. Until episode 5, guys. Peace.